Welcome back. I'm Matt McCourt here at US Metal TV, and tonight I want to talk about Wild Dogs. I was the singer for that band from 1981 to late 1984, and I did 2 albums with them, numerous demos, and it got me a solo deal with Shrapnel Records called Dr. Mastermind, where I took deencastronovo with me and moved him to the Bay Area, and, his story is a story all on its own. From there, he played with Tony McAlpine and met up with Bad English, and that friendship with Neil Sean got him into Hardline and eventually into the band Journey. Along the way, he played with Ozzy Osbourne and spent some time in Italy with Roscoe Vossi, and he's played on so many albums I can't list it, but we're talking about Wild Dogs. And the band started, I did a record in 1981, really recorded in 1980, with Jay Reynolds and Brad Simpson and Vinnie Swine on bass, and me on guitar and vocals. It was called The Ravers. I was a teenage rock and roller, and it came out on a label called Matchbox, which was led by a guy named Andy McKay, who eventually retired as a senior vice president of the entire Universal Music Division. And he had been the publicity agent for JFK. And then after he got shot, he went to Columbia Records and headed up the publicity department there. And left with Clive Davis to start Arista Records, where he headed up the publicity company there, and it was on his way to MCA to take over that company. It was where he stopped in Portland, of all places, and helped this guy start an independent label, a couple of them actually. And Jay Reynolds was in that band, and I needed the drummer of the Ravers shot somebody on a TriMet bus, yes, with a gun, and he thought it was a bad guy. Anyway, he was gone. The bass player was disillusioned, and I needed some guys to play some gigs that I had already lined up a long time ago. So Mick Sane called me up and said, "Hey, Hawk," that was my nickname for my hair getting burned off. Yeah, that's a whole nother story. My hair got burned off with flash spots. It was really long, and got burned off when I was 17. And so they always called me the Hawk for some reason. But he said, "Hey, we need a bass player. Come over and play with us." And I went over there, and I took Danny Hurth's place, actually. And this band was called Academy. And I said, "Hey," Jeff Horton was a guitar player. Jeff Mark, you know him as. Pete Holmes on drums, and Mick on the guitar. And I said, "You guys, I've got about 5 dates, really good gigs that I need a band to play my music." And so they did. We played Ravers. Yeah, I think we opened for Rail once. And, end of that summer, Jeff says, "Hey, my sister-in-law is in a recording class at Recording Associates Studio, and they need a band, a guinea pig band to practice on. And would you be interested?" And I had a whole bunch of songs. We wrote a bunch during the summer, but I've always been a prolific songwriter. I said, "Sure." So I brought my Ibanez Iceman, like on the cover of the Ravers, and I played second guitar, and we did, my first song was "Fugitive of the Law. You're going nowhere when you're a fugitive of the law." About our sound, man. But that led into another session with Pete Holmes on drums. Mick was not around for this, and we became the school band, the recording school band. And we recorded, I think, a series of demos with Pete on drums. And then Pete Holmes decided he was going to join Black and Blue. And Danny Kurtz was the bass player. And that all comes from a band called Jet. In high school, Jet was like the awesome cover band. 14-year-old kids playing Kiss with effects and fog and pyro, and Danny was the bass player. So that's kind of funny that he's the bass player I replaced, and now I'm playing guitar in the studio band. So I saw an MTV spot with Mike Varney. J.J. Jackson said, get a pen, write down this address, and send your tape if you got a band with a great guitar player to Mike Varney. It was a one-time shot. I wrote it down because I didn't work, and I sent our first tape in, and he liked it and wanted to hear more. So by that time, Jamie had started playing drums with us, and it was a really great time to write songs. We would spend hours on the arrangement and trying different things. Metal Volume 2, a compilation, and that was called The Tonight Show. And he liked it. I think Never Gonna Stop is on that also. But Jamie and Black and Blue moved to Hollywood. Same with Malice. And about the same time, me and Jay had found Deencastronovo playing in a club called Eli's downtown. I think it was called Eneo's at the time. And Dean was in a band called The Enemy. And we said, let's be friends. And we got to be friends with Dean. And he's always been just a friendly guy. And Jay called him up to play the demos of Malice with Dean. And he was living at my house. And I played bass. Kip Dorn played lead guitar, and James Neal was a singer. So we made the first 5 Malice songs at Ace Tunnel Sound with the Zachariah brothers, who had been the working crew for Johnny Limbo and the Lugnuts. But Dean didn't want to move to L.A., so he called me up and said, hey, man, I'd like to come over and audition, can I? And we'd already tried like 30 guys out. Nothing was great. So Dean came over, and we played 5 songs, and within 5 songs, he totally destroyed Jamie St. James' pristine Ladybug kit, broke all the heads, broke the ghost pedal footboard is pretty substantial. He broke that in half. He played so hard. He totally trashed the snare, broke the heads on the toms, cracked 2 cymbals, and said, man, I gotta go. If you know Dean, you can hear him saying that. So he leaves, and I said, well, what'd you guys think? And Jeff said, he's too fat, he's too young, he jokes too much, he doesn't take things seriously, we'll never be able to control him. I've got a friend of mine.
That's what I love too, Matt. That's what I love about you, though. You have that, you didn't take the whole thing so damn seriously. Like, we have to do this, we have to look a certain way. It's like, what, Matt, you're an entertainer, and you're fantastic as an entertainer and as a vocalist. And you had a great sense of melody, Matty, but you entertained the crowd. It wasn't you just standing up there just freaking rocking back and forth and running around and doing the David Lee Roth. You were an entertainer, and that's what set us apart from every other band. We were ass kicking. We were ass kicking. You had the melodies, we had the songs, we had the hooks. But when we went on stage, dude, it was all about you. You and me.
I thought he was great. And Danny just stood there and stared at the drum set in shambles, going, how am I going to tell Jamie his drum set has been destroyed by this young kid who overplays and plays too loud? And so Dean joined. And after the U.S. Metal Volume 1 came out, or Volume 2 came out, and I said, you should take the band with the best response and make a whole album, because he was doing compilations. And he goes, well, you've already got half an album done. Why don't you record 5 more songs, and we'll put out a record with you? I said, okay. So we redid Born to Rock, which was on KGON, and the Homegrown album too. We got lots of airplay on that one. And Never Gonna Stop, and I Can't Escape Your Lies, and I can't remember which other. There's 4 songs. So that became the band. And we made a record, and the rest, as you don't know. You see, I'm flourishing in obscurity. Nobody knows who I am. From some concerts from the old days, and we had Jeff Mark on guitar, who was a great guitar player. I mean, that guy is so precise. He can play anything the same way, no matter what. And it always sounds great. He always had professional equipment, and he was a shredding guitar player until Paul Gilbert and Yngwie Malmsteen came on the scene. Then we've got Danny Kurth on bass. Like I said, he was in a band called Jet. He played guitar in that band. He's a great player. I mean, I style my bass playing after him after being in the band with him so long. And he plays with a pick, and he was amazing. We called him Spike. I came to practice one day with all this sports gear attached to different things, like a little helmet. And he thought that was kind of cool. I said, well, an armband made of spikes, like track spikes, would be cool. He made 2 of them. And then on drums, we have the incomparable, the only one, the Mr. Crazy Man, Mr. Sedate. If you saw the podcast with him, you know what I'm talking about. That's deencastronovo. Totally unstimulated. He runs at top speed all the time. He's fun.
To me, I mean, even though we don't talk, there's sometimes we don't talk for a couple years or a year or whatever. We can come back after not talking. And it's like we never left. We just pick up where we left off. But that's because we have a bond, bro. I mean, shit, dude. If it wasn't for you and Barney, none of it would have happened with Neil. Because I moved down because of Barney. And if I hadn't met Barney, I met Barney through you. I mean, the credit where credit's due, bro. And you're a brother to me. I never get when people go off the face of the earth and they walk away. And I mean, people get busy. I get busy. There's times when I can't talk or whatever. I'm scatterbrained or whatever. And there's so many people you meet on the road, but there are certain people in your life that you will remember and have touched you and have become a part of your chemistry and a part of your creative life. And you're one of those, man. Fuck. Come on. Pardon my language, but come on.
I thought we were unstoppable, and we were. There was no other band like us at the time. There was no real original music scene in Portland, Oregon, and quickly it picked up. But this is some clips from Eugene and also a reunion show we did in 1987 after I had been out of the band. That's a weird story. Our manager, Ken Mednick, who worked for Journey, ironically, and then he worked for Night Ranger. I was going to have a meeting with him. He was working for Night Ranger in Black and Blue, and it was a 2-night gig. The first day I went down, had a 2 or 3 hour meeting with him, playing out our strategy, and the night came. I went to the show with my wife and Kip, and we had a great time and partied our butt off. The next night we came back, and still I didn't see the rest of my guys. They sat someplace else because they had an extra guy. They had John, I can't remember his last name. He was a singer for a band called The Zoo, or Zoo Gang or something. And we're at the backstage door waiting for Ken, and there's one extra guy. And I go, I'm Matt, how are you? And I'm John. And we went out to the bus, and I got in first, and thinking it's all cool. Jeff gets on last and introduces himself as, I'm Jeff, the guitar player, and this is our new singer. And I thought, that's a joke. He goes, no, we're serious. They wouldn't tell me. They're kind of weak that way. But the Beatles were also with Pete Best, so, I expect it. They're musicians. So I left, and I had already had a band called Evil Genius that I was doing demos with because the practices were not the same as they used to be. We weren't writing songs like we used to. And I just continued with that. And through that, I got my own solo deal. And they asked me back. I thought I was going to do the Wild Dogs' third album until I got some calls from my press friends. It helps me in publicity. He said, I thought you were in the band. Well, yeah, I am. Now I got a press release from this guy that says, this guy is a singer. Oh, so I called Jeff up. No, that's not the way it is. You're in the band. We had a gig on Friday night. And I asked everybody in the group. They all said the same thing. I called the manager back again. And he said, no, why are they telling you that? I go, well, you know what they were like last time. So my friend who played with Tom Pig from Poison Idea, Eric Frey, he said, dude, in this Swiss accent, show up like everything is fine and then walk out the door and leave. I said, great, but let's do something else. Let's get in as many people as we can on the guest list and then have everybody wait for a while and then go ask for a refund to get their money back because I'm not there. And we made $140 doing that. I went on stage and said, thank you, good night, and walked out the door, went to a waiting getaway car, went back to the villa where I was the apartment manager, and sat there and waited. I joined Mayhem the next day because of that. So I joined Mayhem, and we played a bunch of gigs with Hyrax and Raw Power from Italy, and I forget who else, the Oily Bloodmen, and it was great. And I had been a staff producer at Recording Associates, and they would pay me in comp time. And that's how the Mayhem record got paid for, the recording of it. They went way over the budget, which irks me to this day, but what am I going to do? Beat a dead horse or beat a dead drummer? No. So I did that album, Burned Alive, with them, and they went to Poison Idea. I introduced them to my friend Tom Roberts, Pig Champion. They all joined Poison Idea. I became Dr. Mastermind. That was a funny thing. The name was Mastermind. It was Evil Genius, but they said they couldn't use it. And there was a band in the Midwest who said, you can't be Mastermind, we're Mastermind. I go, no, Mastermind is a game and a movie and a TV show. But still, you can't use our name. I said, okay, watch this. I will become a doctor. And just like that, since I was a scientist on my own planet, I could pass the test in 5 minutes and become a doctor in America. If you know Resident Evil, you'll know who I'm talking about. And so that band was born. The first guitar player Mike Barney hooked me up with, I wanted Yngwie because he was a friend of mine. And he said Yngwie is out of the country for 10 months. That's too long to wait. So he hooked me up with a kid named Paul Gilbert, who lived in Pennsylvania at the time, I think in Amish country. And he was great. And I'd read about him in the Guitar Player magazine with Yngwie. They were in the same issue in Mike Barney's Spotlight column. And he sent me his demo tape, and I sang to it. And just he was on his own path. So he said, how about the guy that replaced Yngwie in Steeler? I said, okay. And he sent me a tape of him. We hooked up. We've been good friends ever since. And he's the guy. And it was pretty amazing. That album went to #1 in Kerrang when it came out, and for 3 months. But, right now let's go to Wild Dogs, because that's what I'm talking about. As you can see, the shirt. And my friend back here, he has a shirt on also. How you doing back there, Whitey? I still have a lot of these shirts for sale. I have only 2X of these. That's it. But got CDs for sale and shirts and all at usmetal.com. Right now, we'll go to a concert at the Starry Night in Portland, Oregon, 1987. And, I'll see you when I come back. Thanks for watching US Metal TV.
So how are you doing? What? Now look, I know you can do better than that. Does anybody remember a song called Two Wrongs Don't Make It Right?
Happy New Year to you. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you. See you
See you,
later.
buddy. Bye.
Bye.
See you, buddy. Bye.
See you. Bye. Bye.
See you, bye.
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 On stage, I play a long-haired, well-hung rock star, a real lady killer.
Dream Club USA. Be the man you always wanted to be.